another book about a women's way, women's empowerment book on how we've made it from going through a lot of the adversities that we went through, like through our high school years, all the way through the present, and trying to be business women and doing what we have to do to be powerful business women now in the decade that we're in, 2018, and trying to get things accomplished and having a lot of obstacles in our way. How can we overcome our obstacles? And so that's what we focus on in the Ambitious Guide to Greatness. My third book is my ebook that I printed out, which is Me Before We. Me Before We is a 14-day challenge. It helps you with basically finding yourself. What it is each day you are challenged to do 3 tasks, and each task relates to something in your life. The first day of the challenge is like one of the most difficult days because it asks you to go back to the time of the age of 8 and all the things that was going on in your life at the age of 8. So where I was trying to do this challenge for it to be 14 days, sometimes ends up being 14 weeks because that first day, a lot of people started and like, I can't, so we end up going backwards and moving on and try to keep that first day challenge end up being 1 week long because it gets so emotional and touchy. But Me Before We helps you with personal goals, business goals, spiritual goals, and anywhere you want to go with empowering yourself. And that's pretty much it. I can be found on all social media as the Anger Dr. Tyra because I am a nationally certified anger management specialist. And I meet with clients throughout the city of Philadelphia as well as New Jersey. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
It's a place where I myself would love to go and hang out sometime. If I could, I would open up one. Yeah, everything is centralized around the cafe, but there are other storylines around Charlie that make the story intriguing. Charlie lives a life that's rooted in existentialism. She chooses to live her life outside the boundaries of society's norms. She feels like society's rules, laws, and moralities didn't work out for her. So now she lives by her own rules, but she also accepts responsibility for her actions. She knows that there may be consequences along the way, and she accepts that. So some of those broken boundaries are the fact that she's not religious, the fact that she feels that marriage is archaic. She chooses to explore her sexual freedom. And the storyline follows her through these choices, why they came about, and how she's affected by them, including her unintentionally falling for one of her lovers and her unconventional way of handling it. That's it, y'all. That's all I got.
Can do the difficult work of getting out their story. So because as a creative and as an editor, I can see where you're hiding in your words. I tell people that all the time, that if I stand up in front of you and I present to you, that is oratory rhetoric. You see me, you like me, that's all it is, fine, no problem. But when you write it down, all you have are the words. And if you're it's really difficult to hide in black and white. So, and it's much easier to connect if you are transparent. So, but that's a difficult thing for people to get to. So I spend a lot of my time coaching and assisting people with that process. And more recently, I have brought on 11 new editors on staff. So I'm very, very excited about that. Thank you very much. They are what I call my literary baes, my BAEs, my badass editors. So we help writers write. We help get to the heart of what you're trying to say in manuscripts, in nonfiction pieces, even in articles, that people are constantly working on, trying to share their message and get their brand concepts out there. So that's a big part of what I do. And if you get a chance to look at the table, I have information about an online course that I teach, and then you'll see some of the clients that I've worked with thus far, and we'll be excited. Obiama had to go, but really excited to support her launch coming up in June.
Stuff like that. The book is kind of deep. So I come from a perspective of overcoming those challenges, taking those challenges, and then dealing with my identity. So in this world that we live in, this social world that we live in, that we are really it's like everybody, if I can say for lack of better words, we just go with the hype. Would y'all agree? Would y'all come on, guys? Would y'all agree? All right, because I'm used to talking to people. So what I'm leading up to something. So in this book, I talk about that I went through sexual identity. All right. So in this world that we go through, where homosexuality is so big, it's like, you know, it's legal now, right? Right. All right. So for me, and I'm only saying this from my opinion, so I'm giving the disclaimer. Okay. So me as a licensed minister, you know, I don't hate anybody, but you know, I don't agree. Okay. So that's my personal opinion. So, but I can speak about it because I dealt with that for years, and I can also speak about it because I overcame it. Right. So it's something that the world said is impossible, but for me, from an advocate of God and being a minister, nothing is impossible. Okay? I have a beautiful wife, I have a beautiful daughter, and I've been married for 4 years. Okay? So I share with this book is because people have impossible challenges and impossible struggles, right? And so the biggest thing is, how do I get out? And then you go through all these different things. So, well, he got married to prove it's this and produce this. No. I went through a whole process, right, before I got married, which is something that's taboo now. I went through a process of being celibate. I was celibate for 9 years. Okay? I was celibate 9 years to be whole with myself, to get me together first. You know, you got to get you together first. And you know you can't get married thinking that if I get married, she's going to complete me. Nobody can complete you, only God. Only God, right? So with my wife, we add to each other. So I was kind of struggling. Well, should I share about this? Because you get those stories when you give out your testimony of like, you know what, does he still do this or he still do this? No, I do not. Because I felt out that sometimes words that we have are powerful. And sometimes people can label you based on their words. So they can say, you know, faggot or, you know, this and stuff like this, not knowing that our words are so powerful. So if you see somebody maybe having tendencies, or if they have tendencies that are effeminate, watch your words. Because there's a scripture that says death and life is in the power of the tongue. Right? Mm-hmm. So I had to go on a journey trying to find myself and trying to find love in all the right places until I had to stop and be like, you know what? I had to find God. And then God had to, you know, transform me to say that, you know, it wasn't my fault. Mm-hmm. Right? So I come with a catch-23 with this book, because a lot of people that talk about a lot of issues of different things, it's like they either come from a place of being raped. I never was raped. Okay? What happened with me is the power of somebody's words, of saying on me and then believing those words and not having identity. So what happens is we take those words, and not that we want to be in that, but we go towards that because it's comfortable. Okay? I'm speaking from you in a place of being very confident of talking about these things, because at the end of the day, it's about somebody's life getting free. Yes. So this whole world is crazy right now, because it's like everybody can do what they want to do and say what they want to do. So I'm not offending nobody, but I'm coming from a perspective that I am a licensed minister and I believe in the power of God. Yes. Okay? That God can still do whatever he wants to do, and he's still doing things even today. Do y'all agree? Yes. All right. So out of that book came 8 books. So I am the author of 8 books, and I self-published them all. Okay, because like my sister said here, that it is good to go in for yourself, right? And I have an awesome wife that is an English major, so she is my better half that does the editing for me. So when you have something good, you pull on those things. I know that I am gifted. I'm a speaker. I'm a mentor. I'm a career coach. I do so many things for a lot of people. So I know where my strengths and my weaknesses lies. Okay, so the first book is It's Not Your Fault. It stemmed from a book. Everybody here got Facebook? Yeah. So on Facebook, I like to put out quotes. And if you follow me, I put Dreaming Big. I always put something inspirational out every day. So this book came from Facebook, Dreaming Big. It takes you through a day of releasing your potential. The next book, because I'm a firm believer of prayer, is called Bondage Prayer. So I don't know if you realize this or not, but prayer is still the most powerful weapon that we have, right? So I pray every day. So I wrote a prayer on bondage breaker, how to get free from things, because even though you say you've been through something, it takes the power of God to get you through it every day.
Amen.
Do y'all agree? All right, so then after that, I have a passion for helping men, so I wrote a book called 12 Steps That Every Man Needs.
Amen.
Okay? So, and then outside of that, I did something for men, young men, calling Sowing Seeds to a Prince. Our words are powerful. So what I say is very powerful, and I did one dedicated to my daughter called Seeds to a Princess. Okay? So my daughter is 2, and every day I tell her I love her, and I tell her that she's beautiful. Right? So when she grows up and she goes on a date, she don't have to worry about some joker saying, hey, this, there, because she's going to say, my daddy already told me that. Right? So I'm the father that's going to take my daughter on her first date. I'm going to take her on her first date to show her that she is beautiful, because what happens is we get with these bad people based on words that they say that are not true. You feel me? So I'm an advocate, and it's very practical. It tells her I am beautiful, I am great. You got to start speaking to your children early. You got to start speaking these things now so they don't believe the lie down the line. Y'all feel me? All right, so the last book I just did is called Ready, Set, Pray. All right, this came out of a 40-day devotional that I started with texting people. I would text people scriptures every morning. So I took those scriptures, put it in book form, and here you go. Okay? It takes you on 40 days, from day 1 to day 40. Okay? I am a big advocate. I know Mr. Howard read a lot about my bio, but my biggest thing and my biggest accomplishments is that, you know, that I believe in the power of God, and that God can do anything. Anything. This is not church, but I'm just saying who I am is that I am a motivator. So the thing about it is he can do anything. So you could be sitting here today of like, I've been through this, I've been through this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I am a prime candidate that you can get through the barriers of life and still walk and say, you know what, I have did it. Okay? I've been there and back. Okay? So I am an author. I have a nonprofit. I have a business. I teach other people how to self-publish their own books. Okay? I know the whole process that can get you edited. I know a lot of different things, but I am very passionate about helping people, right? So you can follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on social media, you can get my information, and I just love to talk, so I'm glad to be here. So I am very, very passionate about what I do. That's why I can be as transparent the way I am, because one thing I can leave with you is that one way, one thing that you know that you are free, is that you can talk about it with no condemnation.
That's right. That's right.
Right? So I don't worry about people's faces, their opinions, or anything like that, because I live in a life of freedom. So when you live in a life of freedom, can't nobody pull you back. Okay? I didn't want to preach, but this is who I am. All right? So thank you for your time.